Welcome back to the Stan Simpson Show. Here now with Desmond, Connor, Hartford Current, UConn football beat writer. The blog has no name yet. Still, just the UConn football blog.
Working on it.
Blowing up though, right?
Working on it.
All right.
Doing pretty well. Yeah.
It was a nice piece recently on Randy Edsall. So have a look back at a very trying year for the coach. Lost two people very close to him. To what degree did one death help him deal with the other?
You know, well, as I mentioned in the piece, Stan, he had never really had, lost somebody that was close to him. And when he lost his father, he was really quiet about it during the year. I remember I had heard that his father was sick, and I had tried to ask him about it a couple of times, just privately, and he just didn't want to talk about it. He just withdrew from even the subject. And so I think that, it wasn't really sudden, so it was something that they had prepared for and those kind of things. But I just think that the way his father was,
tough guy,
yeah,
right?
Very tough guy, and his father always told him, whatever the situation is, you stand up to it, and you deal with it. And I think when that happened, that was a test to everything that his father, had taught him, and he dealt with it, and I think those instincts just kicked in when the tragedy with Jazz happened.
So you go from losing an aging dad to a young player, 18 years old, right, Desmond Howard. His future is still ahead of him. Around the country, people were impressed with how Edsall handled that. In retrospect now, when he looks back, how's he coping with it? Has he a chance to heal from both of those deaths?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he, in his own way deals with it every day. I think that it was easier for him with his father because they had talked before, and this was something that his father really wanted to do. He didn't want to be a burden to the family anymore, and I think the family respected that. And
well, hold on, because you mentioned in your piece that the father told the family, "Hey, I want to die." Right? That's pretty powerful stuff.
Chilling,
right?
Chilling,
And we should make clear, the father was ailing. He didn't want to diagnose. Right. The father was ailing, and just wanted to say it.
Right, and he didn't want to be a burden on the family anymore. And and he did say those words, and I don't think they surprised Randy.
Why not?
Well, I just think because the year was so tough. And the other thing too was, and I didn't get a chance to mention this in the piece, but there was a game down at Louisville in '08. It was a night game on a Friday night. And at that time, Randy's father was at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and he was having a surgery done that he had never had before. So they weren't sure if he was going to make it off the table that night. And it was a 7-hour procedure, and he made it. And UConn won the game at Louisville. I believe it was the next night. It was a Friday night. And I remember Randy being really emotional after that win. And I had asked him about it, but he didn't mention anything about his dad. I had heard even before that his dad was really sick, but he didn't mention that was, why he was so emotional. But he had been dealing with this for a long time, so he knew what to expect, at this point.
The Howard issue, now you have to move forward, right? At the end of the day, with college football's big misses, you have to recruit. They had a fairly good recruiting class here in February.
Excellent.
Well, something very surprising, though, the secret or the elephant in the room with UConn football, they have not done a good job in getting in-state recruits, right? And Randy Edsall said
that's debatable.
Okay, well, when debatable, he's saying in his own words that, you know what, he feels the high school coaches can do a better job in engaging the football team. And I thought it was pretty strong stuff from the coach. Let me take a look at the words first, at the comments. I think we have it here somewhere, and then we can get your reaction. That, as I recall, he aired out the high school coaches and said, hey, they need to do a better job of engaging this program. Do we have that, Amy? Here it is.
The kids that signed with the BCS schools, we did our darndest to try to get them to come to UConn. And I think what has to happen is I think that, and I think we're getting close to this, but I think the coaches in this state are realizing that the product that we have here now, we beat Notre Dame, we beat South Carolina, we have a Big East championship. But I think sometimes it's tough to break, the land of steady habits. It's tough to break some people's habits in terms of what their perception is.
All right. And I wanted to play more of that, but he also got into where he said, frankly, they'd hold some camps sometimes, UConn would, and the high school coaches aren't showing up. And I thought some of his comments, there's a communication problem between the high school coaches and UConn. Your thoughts?
That's the first thing that's got to get fixed. These guys got to get in a room and hash this thing out. And
but after 9 years, you've been here, what, 9, 10 years? 11. Why are we at this point in about 20?
It could be a myriad of reasons. Anywhere from, I want to send my son to a big-time school, to if I'm the high school coach, doesn't it make me look good or better to send my kid to a school like Notre Dame or Michigan or something like that? That makes me look good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Although Ed's going to say, listen, we beat Notre Dame over in South Bend, right? That's what he has now in his pocket, right?
This year. He can say that now.
Right.
He can say
That's
that
his
now.
argument. His argument now is, hey, if you want to go big time, you've got big time right here in your own backyard. You got to make that stick, right?
Right, but you mentioned it from the outset. The key is that now he's said it. We've always wondered why some of these top state players were going to other schools, and he would never call out the high school coaches. He never did that before. I thought it was very interesting that he did it this year, and I think he basically got tired of being called out for not getting them, and so he called them out.
How about this, Connor? How about, is this a precursor, not just a calling out, sort of a last-minute warning here? If I can't get this done, maybe next year I go somewhere else where the high schools will embrace me. I'm going to throw it out there, Connor. Let you chew on that for a little while. Write about that next week.
He hasn't left yet. He hasn't done it yet. So.
I'm throwing it out there. Maybe Randy Edsall, after you said 11 years now, right, he's built this program. If he gets to the point where he's banging his head trying to convince high school coaches to have your kids consider UConn, let me go to a place where they understand big-time football, Connor.
I don't think that's it. I mean, they've done pretty well with the kids that are on the roster.
Put it on the blog. See what the blog people say about it.
See what they say. We can do it.
He's Desmond Connor. Good piece on Randy Edsall. When we come back, we'll talk to Mark Robinson. He's a survivor of that horrifying crash on Avon Mountain in 2005. He has a book out about the ordeal and the aftermath. Don't go away.